go after what it is you want, that you truly desire. We talked about this desire before. See, our risk taking, our trying new things is part of our growth. You actually have to be the thing before the thing shows up. You've got to venture into it with faith. My name is Catherine Arkema, and thank you for joining me here today. We are talking about risk-taking, and it's probably not the most exciting, risk-taking is scary, but you know what? Risk-taking can lead to really, really, really great manifestation, and it is actually part of the process of manifestation. You know, when you go forward, there is a risk that you have to take in some of what we do in manifesting what we want. You know, you're going off faith, you're going off a lot of things, you're jumping in. And when we develop that faith, risk taking gets a little easier. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to read you. I put it away and now I got to find it. I'm going to read you a little quote first that I thought was really pertinent to risk taking. So first of all, it says that the dictionary says that risk is to expose oneself to the chance of loss, right? Pretty explanatory. Take a risk is you're like, ooh, am I going to lose something? Well, let's look at it from a different point of view. To laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To weep is to risk appearing sentimental. To reach out for another is to risk involvement. To expose feelings is to risk exposing your true self. To place your ideas, your dreams before a crowd is to risk a loss. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. So what risk are you actually avoiding? You know, because to take risk, we are actually growing and we're actually evolving into the lessons that we need to learn, right? Love, laughter, chance, living. If we constantly stay in our programmed bubble, we won't take any risks. We lose nothing. But in fact, I like to flip the whole coin, what have I got to lose, on its head and say, you have absolutely everything to lose. And why is that? It's because when you don't go after what it is you want, that you truly desire, and we talked about this desire before, is to actually, let me just mute this. Sorry, guys. So to actually not take those risks is losing a lot because you're holding back on yourself. You potentially could lose the loss of the success, the wealth, the time freedom, the growth of your business, the growth of you personally, the love that you've always desired. You're potentially risking all of that not appearing in your life by withholding what you're doing. Does that make sense? When you hold back in all areas, you're risking the fact that you're not actually growing at all. And we shy away from it. We shy away from the fear of failure, the fear, and just in general, all the thoughts that enter our head, the humiliation, right? We fear this humiliation. But where is that thought of, I have failed. If you want to call it failure, I don't call it failure now. I call it absolute growth to where I've been. And there was no humiliation. The humiliation happened in my mind. The self-doubt happened in my mind. And it's this trap that we stay encaged by because we're afraid of what else is out there. We're afraid of these humiliations, these fears, this what if on a negative. But why do we go to that in the first place? Why do we go to the negative in the very first place? You see, when you actually come up with an idea to do something, or an idea pops into your head to do something, that's actually your inner spirit wanting creation, wanting to expand outside of what it's currently doing. It's wanting growth. But what our paradigm does is start harmonizing with all the limiting beliefs that we have, because our paradigm's controlling the show. And if our paradigm is used to living off of limitation and fear, then it will start to find all the reasons that you can't do something rather than all the reasons you can. It's been programmed in us since we were little kids. And me as a parent have done the same thing where, you say, be careful, don't do that, you'll hurt yourself. We don't let our kids just adventure off and do whatever they want. No, we gotta bubble them. And we all know the helicopter parents that won't let their children make any decisions or go outside of any risk at all to experience what it's like to actually take a risk, make a decision, and maybe fail. And that's okay. Bob says to his children when they were young, because now he's like 87 years old, he's got grandkids and the whole 9 yards, but he used to say to his children, you have to be okay with the decision you make. And he would stop making the decisions for them and allow them to experience what it's like to make the decision and have the ramifications from that. Did they succeed? Did they feel like it was a lesson learned, not a failure? A lesson learned. When I look back at all the things that I've done over this last year, I could have said a lot of things have been failure. My network marketing business didn't turn out the way I wanted it. It wasn't a failure. It pivoted me to here today. It was what got me here. It wasn't a failure. It was a learning experience. And even when I started into this, there was experiences in growing my community that I thought, well, I did a launch one time and really nothing came of it. Nothing came of it. Nobody was really engaged. And I thought I could have looked at that as a failure. But instead, I took the learnings from it and everything started to expand after it. See, our risk-taking, our trying new things is part of our growth. And if you're constantly saying, well, I don't want to do that in your mind, because you don't usually talk this stuff outside. If you're continually looking for the reasons that you can't, then you're going to continually find them. So is risk worth it? Is it really worth it? Because think about what you'd be missing if you don't succeed. If risking actually going in your business full out, not holding back, asking the people to take a look, or making those sales calls you've really, really hesitated to do, or being full in on a relationship, you actually have to be the thing before the thing shows up. You've got to venture into it with faith. I'm not sure if any of you follow, what's his name? He's very large on manifestation. And someone asked him, how do you manifest your perfect person? And he said, get a piece of paper, write it all out, and then be that person. Take a risk. Be vulnerable. The steps in taking a risk are growing along the way. It's the learning process that unfolds. It isn't just the achievement. If we were all to set goals and then walk out into a field and all our goals be there and not experience the journey around the way, it would be like an Easter egg hunt where you're just like picking up the eggs. Like they're all in front of you. There's no learning. There's no nothing. They're just there. It's just a free for all, pick up whatever you want. Nothing would be fulfilling in this life. Nothing. But your inner spirit is wanting to expand in a fuller way of growing. But it's our ego, it's this free will that we have that creates this fear and holds us back. So when we stop listening to the fear and we start listening to the intuitiveness in the inside that said, hey, this is a great idea that we're bringing into life. We want to make this happen. I want you to start looking for the cans instead of the can'ts. Can't is paralyzing for when you're about to take a risk. When I say risk, a risk could be starting a new business. A risk could be growing your business, quitting your 9-to-5. A risk could be purchasing that new house that you've always wanted. A risk could be going all in on a relationship. Your risk is whatever you make it out to be. Doing something that makes you go, right? I really want to expand. Exactly. So we can't Can't. Think about as kids too, how many times we're told can't. We can't do that. We can't. You can't do that. Don't do that. Why? Just because you can't, because I told you so. Right? So we're programmed, not trust my intuitiveness on the inside, not trust what's going on the inside. Don't take risks. Stay within the lanes. Follow the crowd. Don't listen to the inner dialect that's saying, grow, expand, I've got you. And we wonder why we can't manifest anything into our lives. You are actually manifesting everything on a daily basis. It all comes down to your thoughts. But your thoughts are so geared towards your old programming and your old thinking and your negative behavior. So when you start to look for the can'ts, you got to flip it to the cans. Okay, wait a second. Why did I think I couldn't? Why do I think that I can't do this? What is the can in this situation? And we flip the perspective. And the can be a never-ending flowing list of possibilities. I can because it would make me feel really great to achieve this goal. And I can because I have all the resources that I need, or I'm capable. And I can because then my family would experience the growth from it. Maybe I'd be able to travel more. Maybe I'd be able to pay off all my credit cards. Yeah, I like this can. Start growing our cans instead of our cans. You see, there's a negative and a positive frequency to everything. And if the fear is quite huge and large, then the success is equally as great. Because in the law of polarity, because everything is based off universal laws, like the law of gravity, whether you know it or not. If something seems like an enormous risk, there is an enormous reward. If something seems like a little risk, it's a little reward. They have polarities, the positive and the negative. To every up, there is a down. To every in, there is an out. To every big, there is an equally big on the negative positive scale. So if you are sitting there thinking, well, if I risk going all in on what it is that I want, yeah, I could fail. I could fall down. I could learn a couple things that may not go as smooth as I want. But guess what? The possibilities for the outcome are that I would change the financial future of my family's life, or I'd finally have that love that I've always dreamed of, or I'd be living in the house that I've always wanted. So I hear some of the most amazing manifestation stories, even around the other consultants that I work with in this business. And they talk about taking a huge risk, where they know when they take a risk in faith, manifestation pays off. It comes back to you because they do it out of faith. So people buying houses that they don't have the money for, where they're like, I know, and they visualize, they go through the process of what we teach into thinking into results, and it shows up everything they need. Countless stories of people saying, I don't have the funds to register for thinking into results, but I'm going to do this. And they maybe put a deposit down and they manifest all the money back. That has happened to my clients. When you take the risk, you make the decision, and you move forward, that's when the path is made clear. That's when all the things start to happen once the decision is made and the risk is taken. And what may appear like a apparent risk isn't a risk at all, because you end up manifesting everything you actually wanted. The risk was staying stuck in our old programming and our old fear. You have the potential to change your life by using these simple ways of thinking and perspective. You do not need a high IQ to win in life. That's a lie. Look at some of the most influential people today. Tony Robbins, what's his name? I forget his name, swears all the time. These are all people that were like high school dropouts, low IQs. Albert Einstein was, no, this guy's not going to be anything. What is required is a desire, an ability to make a decision, go through the risks, be willing to try new things. And I want you to test your strength. You are way more capable than you ever imagined. And when you start doing these things, what's going to happen? Your confidence is going to rise. right? Not shying away from it, not taking the risk and then being in fear. No, taking the risk and going at it with faith and belief in a knowing. You can be a little nervous, but you're doing it anyways. Have you never heard the saying about, my one client, Kathy, says this. What is it? Ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. When I first entered into network marketing, this is what I was. I was unconscious competent. I was ignorance on fire. I didn't know what I was doing, but all the sales were, I took the risk. All the sales were coming. My team was growing right up. Ignorance on fire. You don't need to know, but you got to have the passion to do it. All the knowing happens through the journey. I didn't know what this would look like even for me today as a coach. I had no idea. I took the biggest risk of my life and the path was made known. Did I have scary situations where I thought, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this? Absolutely. Did I ever go without? Nope. Not a once. Not a once. I've continually to grow and grow the manifestations, and they've continually shown up bigger and bigger. So your risk is staying stuck. And I want you to think about that. When you think about your risk next time, think about the risk of what you're actually missing out on rather than all the reasons you can't, because that's your old programming keeping you exactly where you are. I hope you guys got a lot of benefit from this. I hope you can feel it inside of you. I hope you can feel your spirit inside of you saying yes, because it wants you to trust it. And when you start to lean in that, great things start to happen. So join me next week. We'll talk about something new to help us grow from going from stuck to unstoppable and help us to manifest more great things into our life. This is Catherine Arkema. Bye for now.